What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 107 of Maine-Ly Heckin Sports. I'm your host, Carter Bruce, back again with another episode for y'all. And guys, we have a lot to talk about. But first, I want to say that I am down bad. And I know some of you are thinking, caring, oh, why, what's wrong? And I know the other half of you are thinking, who cares? Go, just talk about the podcast because you're going to ramble on, you're going to bring it up anyway. But I was going to start this off with talking about the amazing AFC NFC championship games, which we will obviously get to. We have a lot to talk about this episode, ranging from very many things. Tom Brady's retired. Something I didn't, I would say when the season first started, I didn't think I would be saying at the almost near the end of the season, Tom Brady would be retiring. Me being someone that's been a Patriots fan my whole life, Tom Brady was drafted, I believe. I did the math. I looked at it today, and I was a year and 6 days old when Tom Brady was drafted to the Patriots. So all I've known is Tom Brady. When Brady left, I was very upset with the organization, not Brady, because I knew, I was more on the side of Brady, not Belichick and the team. I knew I didn't obviously have the inside scoop on anything, but I knew the things that were happening. And I kind of understood where Brady was at and kind of felt disrespected for him that we weren't bringing him back and that we felt like we could move on. Maybe moving on was the better long-term choice, but seeing him go on to win a championship with another team hurt even more. So when Brady, that whole debacle with Adam Schefter, that fucking clown, and I like Schefter, but it's just a dick move by him and whoever was leaking that information to him. Somebody obviously was in Tom's inner circle for a long, long time, because you don't get that information without knowing it. Maybe Adam Schefter leaked it a little too early after getting it from somebody. Maybe Tom even said, okay, let Adam know, but I kind of want to announce it first. And maybe then he can say, Tom plans on having a press conference, yada, yada, yada. And Adam leaked it way too early. You could tell he jumped the gun. He wanted to be put down in history as the guy who broke the news on Tom Brady retiring, which I didn't like. I didn't like how Brady wasn't able to retire on his own. He's earned it. He's the greatest football player of all time. It's not even close, especially when you compare other quarterbacks. It's not even close. Tom Brady's the greatest football player ever graced the game. And the people, that say he's not, I validate other people's opinions. When you want to see Lawrence Taylor, Jerry Rice, those are really the only two I can look at and say, okay, maybe you can start an argument there. But any other quarterback that you want to say compares to Tom Brady, it's not even remotely close. And I looked at that as like, okay, we can't respect the guy enough. This is why sometimes I hate the media so much. We can't respect the guy enough who's done so much for the game, who's really built the game, who's built a single franchise. I can't respect him enough for him to come out and retire on his own. We have to be the first person who releases the story, who makes history, is the name everybody thinks about when they say, okay, who leaked that story? You're going to look it up. Adam Schefter. I mean, obviously he's going for that. Just a little extra clout there. It first came out, obviously, this was last Saturday. I was sitting there. I just had finished recording Saturday's episode and I was getting ready to post, and I got that. And I was like, Jesus. Like, is there any I was sitting there thinking, I was like, is there any point of posting this? Because nobody's going to care, because Tom Brady just retired. Who gives a shit about a random ass podcast? Even the people that maybe sit here and want to listen every episode, who gives a shit about it? And I was sitting there, obviously very upset, because Tom Brady's the quarterback I know, I've come to love, my favorite athlete of all time. And then you see reports of his dad saying that he's not retired, his agent coming out saying he's not retired, he hasn't made it, Bruce Arians saying he's not retired, he hasn't made a decision yet, yada, yada, yada. So I was like, okay, what the hell's going on? I thought to myself, okay, there's no way Brady's going to come out and say, I'm not retiring, I'm going to play another year, even if it's in spite of Adam Schefter, in spite of, whatever given variables. And, Tom Brady, he, like Jordan in The Last Dance, takes a lot of things personally and does a lot of things in spite of others to prove other people wrong, etc. I knew he was retiring once they came out and said, okay, he hasn't made a decision. He was just obviously pissed off, and I would have been pissed off as well that somebody leaked it and didn't allow him to do so, and he couldn't do it on his own terms. And you even heard some, guy like Shannon Sharp, who Obviously, Football Hall of Famer, one of the greatest tight ends of all time, come out and say how frustrated he was for Tom. We can't even respect the guy enough to allow him to retire himself. And I knew it was coming shortly after. I knew, everyone was talking about that whole bonus that he was going to be getting February 5th for 15 million. I really didn't think that was a factor. Tom Brady doesn't give a shit about 15 million. I mean, he makes 15 million, him and his wife combined make 15 million in half a year. And probably in like 2-3 months, they make 15 million, honestly. So he doesn't give a shit about that. He's not that kind of guy that just chases money. If he was the guy that cared about money, chased after money, he wouldn't give a shit how much Gisele's making or how much cap space teams have. He'd ask for the max. He'd ask for basically the max every single contract negotiation he's had throughout his career. So I knew it was coming soon. I wasn't sure if it was going to be Instagram, press conference, combination of both. And then I worked today. I say Tom Brady officially come. Well, actually, my buddy messaged me and said Brady's done. And I was like, okay, is that like something being tweeted out by another guy, Schefter double tweeting, or did Brady come out and say it himself? Because that's when I would believe it, is when Brady comes out and said, I am retiring. This is me, Tom Brady, saying I am retiring. Went on Instagram, looked at it, read it, and apparently I am alone on this one and being a Patriots fan and not upset about him not saying anything about New England. I know a lot of people are saying they're hurt, it's disrespectful, blah, blah, blah. He spent 2 decades here, and he's only thanking Tampa Bay. He was there for literally like 30 seconds compared to what he was in New England, which that part is true. But guys, Tom Brady doesn't give a shit or know who we are. Do you like the way some people were talking? And I understand, I eventually believe, he quote tweeted the Patriots after saying, thank you, Patriot Nation. I believe that Brady will have more of a message to New England fans. I think a lot of people jumped the gun. You're upset that he didn't include you in an Instagram post, which is the most basic, casual way to retire and thank people. And I thought, okay, he thanked people he was with the least amount of time in his career. Okay. There's a reason why he didn't mention New England. Yeah, obviously, people think he's hurt. He's mad at New England. He's mad at Bill Belichick, mad at Robert Kraft. Okay, that's cool and all, but he has Patriots fans. He has supporters that are New England fans that he's best friends with to this day. Guys like Mark Wahlberg, Matt. And it just didn't make any sense to me why people were mad or upset. Tom Brady doesn't know who we are. He doesn't have to know who we are. He doesn't care who we are. And if he didn't want to come out and say anything about New England, okay, that's fine and dandy. The guy's been in the league 22 years. He's the GOAT. He gave us 6 Super Bowls. Does he really have to go on this 8-paragraph rant on how much he loves New England? No. I mean, his Hall of Fame speech, I'm sure, will be 95% about New England, his time in New England. I'm sure he'll come out with some sort of video thanking New England fans. I think just a lot of people jumped the gun and wanted to be included in an Instagram post when he's not even directing it at you. Someone like me sitting out looking at their phone saying, I feel disrespected because I supported Tom, but Tom doesn't know you, doesn't know you've ever watched a game, doesn't know you've watched a single down. So it's just confusing to me why people are so offended by this. And maybe I'm alone. Maybe I sound weird to a majority of New England fans. I don't care if I sound weird. I thought people that were offended by it are very, very weird. I think that you should be concerned about your well-being if you are offended or sad about a grown man that you don't know, you've never met, he doesn't even know you, and he's never going to meet you or say a single word to you, and you're upset that he didn't thank you through an Instagram post. When it's not about you, it's about him. So to me, that was all very weird. And I read that and it kind of sat with me. And I was, okay. How weird is it going to be? Just besides saying Tom Brady's never returning to football again, how weird is it going to be for the kickoff of the 2022-2023 season, week 1, watching those games and realizing Tom Brady is not on a single roster? I think that's what's going to be the weirdest thing to me, is coming to the, I understand he's not going to be there, but coming to the full realization when he's not on the field at all for any other franchise, even Tampa Bay, is going to be weird. it's going to be hard because, you know, when I was growing up, my three guys, Tim Duncan, Chipper Jones, Tom Brady. Chipper Jones, Tim Duncan, been gone. Duncan was gone. He's in the Hall of Fame now. Chipper's been in the Hall of Fame for a few years. The only guy I had left was Brady. And it was hard. It's going to be hard, obviously, because you don't like I was talking to my dad's Chipper Jones, and he was kind of Greg Maddux, Larry Bird, and Lawrence Taylor. And he said, you don't really have, you can have favorite players. You can have guys that you root for the most after your guys are gone. But after your main athletes, your favorite athletes from each individual sport are gone, you never have anybody like that again. As much as it sucks to hear, you never have somebody like that where you feel that sort of attachment and you root for them. You know, Brady, you know, his first 3 Super Bowls, I was a baby. I was shitting my pants, unable to, you know, later in the later of the years, I was able to fully speak, maybe watch the game, but didn't fully understand what was going on. I was in bed. So I was just in bed, nodding off, just kind of waking up every couple seconds, maybe to my dad yelling at the TV, even though my dad's a Giants fan. The first Super Bowl I do remember watching was 2007. I know, terrible memory, and, you know, jersey from that Super Bowl. 17-0 going up against the Giants. They lost. I cried. That's first. I remember crying, and the biggest thing I remember is my father, because he's a diehard Giants fan, laughing at me. His 8-year-old son, being a Patriots fan, watching his favorite player, Tom Brady, and his favorite team, the Patriots, lose to, you know, his favorite team. My dad's ruthless. He's a ruthless man. He laughed right in my face. And then 2011, I remember watching that Super Bowl. He lost to the Giants again. Father called me immediately, told me how much we sucked. It was, you know, being 12 years old, I was like, my dad's calling me to roast me about my favorite team losing again. And it happened to be his favorite team again. So my first 2 Super Bowls that I remember of Tom Brady, he lost. I don't have that initial memory of Tom Brady and the Patriots winning all the time, because that span of when it last happened, 2004 to 2014, they won games. They won a lot of games. They won a lot of division titles. They went to AFC championship games. They went to Super Bowls, but they lost. 2014, the first, you know, Super Bowl, I clearly remember that they won. I clearly remember every single quarter, almost every single play, every single big moment. And I'm the kind of guy, and this is the first time I believe in 2014, they won. Obviously, they would have won before the Spurs won in June when they beat Miami. Maybe that would have been, you know, whenever it was. Maybe Spurs won before that. So maybe this was my first real championship memory. I'm the kind of guy, I have such bad anxiety, sports anxiety. I can't sit there, watch. I feel like I've been the biggest jinx to Tom Brady. They were down 10 points, and I was like, I'm done. I can't watch this. Like, I'm going to have, I'd followed it on my phone, and I asked my dad what's going on. Pats come back. I come back to watch the game. Curse makes that stupid catch. And I was like, great. So I'm going to yet again, my 3rd Super Bowl. I remember Tom Brady being in, and I'm going to be 0 for 3. I'm Tom Brady's worst luck charm of all time. Obviously, we know what happened. 17 when they won. We know what happened. I was feeling the same exact way when we were down 28-3. Watched when we were down at 28-16. I started watching. Or no. Whatever it was, guys. I don't know. No, it was 28-12. I started watching at 28-12 before we scored the touchdown and got the 2-point conversion. Watched the Eagles game, full game, lost. I just have so many Brady memories. That's where I was thinking of all the Brady memories I had. And it's a lot. Obviously, the guy brought a lot to the franchise. He brought a lot of, I believe that if you listen to Pardon My Take, PFT made it, very clear. He made you feel like a winner. And he just made a whole entire city feel like winners. Outside of that city, if you were a Brady fan, me being in northern Maine, felt like winners walking through that hallway, seeing all my friends that are Patriots fans, Tom Brady fans, and talk about the game. You just feel great about it. And when he left, it sucked. Obviously, it sucked. You seeing your favorite player going and playing for another team, winning with another team. It sucks. It's like seeing your super some girl that you don't know how you pulled. Then you fuck it up. You lose her. She goes off, and you just know. You know what's happening with her new boyfriend. You just know. That's what it felt like. It sucked. I wanted to forget, but you can't because you see it. It's in your face all the time. For majority of the year, it's right in your face, just like that. But for him to retire today, 7 Super Bowls, 15 Pro Bowls, 3 All-Pro, first team All-Pros, 3 second team All-Pros, 4-time Super Bowl MVP or 5-time Super Bowl MVP. It's hard for me. 3, 5. Yes, 5 Super Bowl MVPs. It was amazing. And we'll never see something like this again, ever in the history of the game. We'll never see somebody dominate. We'll never see a team dominate the way over those 20 years that the Patriots and Tom Brady dominated. I just wish my one true wish. I have two. One, I would have completed the 17-0 season. I just wish that for Brady because me being 8 years old, I do remember, but I don't really fully remember. It didn't have that big of an impact on me in terms of living it out after. My only other wish is that Tom retired a Patriot, that he stayed in New England. And I know Tom wanted to stay in New England. Everybody knows that Tom wanted to stay in New England. And that's the thing that hits the most, is him retiring a Tampa Bay Buck. Didn't want it to happen, shouldn't have happened, and ultimately it did. And, I respect Tom for everything. Tom's never, I saying all this, Tom's never going to hear it. Tom don't give a shit. If I respect it, if I had my take, or if I was the complete opposite kind of person and just hated Tom Brady for everything. But for me, it's going to be a lot that first week. It was a lot to see somebody else suit up in a Patriots uniform at the quarterback position, but it's going to be a lot watching Tom not be on the field, not watching Tom is what I meant to say. And I wish him the best in his future endeavors with, his business, Brady brand, crypto businesses, the autograph kind of business, the NFT business, whatever he continues to pursue. I wish him the best of luck because, Tom Brady, with that kind of mental focus he has, that kind of the attitude he has, he's going to succeed in any kind of venture. I hope. The only very few things I agree with Stephen A on, that he doesn't stray away from football fully, which I believe that it's possible that we don't see Tom Brady ever in a booth, ever sitting, this Sunday, these NFL countdowns kind of things. I just don't ever see it happening. But hopefully we see Tom involved with football somehow. And, people saying he's going to go coach Michigan. Shut the fuck up. He's not going to go coach Michigan. It's the dumbest thing of all time. What is Tom going to do in Michigan? Like, what? I'm sure Tom would rather play another 5 years than fucking go coach Michigan, coach some college kids. The dumbest thing ever. But congratulations, Tom. I wish the retirement would have gone a little bit better for you. I do wish that you were able to go out in your own terms. Adam Schefter, I hope you cry yourself to sleep for making one of the biggest mistakes in journalism history. I don't care what anybody says if people say that's an overreaction. It was just Adam Schefter being a complete idiot, in my personal opinion. And whoever's in Tom's circle, maybe if they screwed up and said, hey, Schefter, go out and do this. I'm sure Schefter doesn't have the full connection to Tom to say, hey, Tom, can I post this? Because I think if he did, he would have reached out to Tom. So whoever it was, if it's Schefter, somebody else within Tom's circle that said, yeah, go ahead and do that because you can. You're an idiot. Tom, just the GOAT, greatest of all time, arguably the greatest athlete of all time, the greatest career, most dominant, longevity. LeBron's the only guy to really rival it. We'll see if LeBron can close out his final years. He's living up to it now. If he can close out the last few years of his career with the same kind of dominance that he's done over his 19 years. Hell of a career. Insane memories. Something that'll, again, never happen again. I don't see any quarterback in the league right now surpassing Tom Brady as the GOAT or threatening him as the GOAT. Obviously, yes, very early in careers, it's just not going to happen. It's not. So, love you, Tom. Thank you for everything. You're literally the best guy, quarterback, person that New England ever could have asked for. Love you. now, so I can stop being like a little kid. And kind of, I had to get that out of the way. Before, I hope you guys had a phenomenal weekend. Hope you guys enjoyed the games. Hope you guys are enjoying, your first initial part of the week. Love y'all. I appreciate you guys for the support. Thank you for allowing me to be a kid for a second there, because it was hard news today. But we have a lot of other shit to talk about. 100%. We have so much stuff to talk about. And like I said, I was going to start with the NFC and AFC championships, but when Tom Brady retires, you can't start with anything else. So this Sunday was interesting, though. Very, very interesting. As you guys know, I picked the underdogs to win both games. I picked the Bengals to beat the Chiefs, and I picked the 49ers to beat the Rams. And I was half right. And I'm not going to lie to you. Sunday, that game started at 3, and at about 4:30, I can't remember the exact time I tweeted it. I'm not going to check. I felt like an idiot for thinking the Bengals were going to beat the Chiefs. It was 21-3. Chiefs have scored 3 straight possessions. And then the Bengals, I was like, I'm done watching this game. I'm done. I can't I can't do this to myself anymore. I wanted this game to be good. I wanted the Bengals to win because I hate Patrick Mahomes. I hate his brother. I hate his girlfriend. And, maybe I understand Mahomes a little bit more. Obviously, everything that, what his brother does, all those TikTok dances, his girlfriend spraying champagne all over people that are outside the heated booth that she sits in, the stuff she tweets. But yeah, we'll see where Mahomes is at 42. He's not going to play till 42, and he'll never touch Brady as the GOAT. By the way, just wanted to say that he's not touching Brady as the GOAT. But that game just threw me for all sorts of loops. I saw them go down. The Bengals score 21-10. I was like, okay, there's a lot of time left in this first half for the Chiefs to go down and score, and they get the ball. I believe they got the ball. Whatever. Of course, I'm checking my phone. You guys know you just go into Safari on your iPhone, or if you have an Android still, and just type in there and like, okay, Bengals, Chiefs, first thing pops. I click it, and I see first and goal at the Bengals 1, and I'm like, you got to be shitting me. I thought the Bengals, could maybe hold them for once. Say, okay, run into the half with momentum, only down 21-10 rather than 21-3. Now it's looking like there's going to be at least 24-10 or 28-10. And then I see I check back in a minute later and I see it's halftime. I'm like, what the hell? Did they fumble the ball? There's an interception? Then I see it. I'm like, Jesus, those were 2 of the dumbest. And that was the moment everything flipped. Mahomes made a bonehead play. He panicked. And the Bengals, you just felt like that game 4 weeks before where they had come back and won after being down 14-0. And momentum just completely flip-flopped. It got in Mahomes' head. The Bengals were at an all-time high of confidence. And they came into that second half riding on that confidence and shut Mahomes down like he's never been shut down before. I would say the only comparable time he was shut down in a single half would be when the Patriots completely shut them out in the AFC Championship game in the first half, because he came out and did basically to the Patriots what he did to the Bengals in the first half of that game. And Joe Burrow, Joe Cool. I know it's Joe Montana's nickname. I'm not calling him Joe Burr like the Cole. That's the dumbest nickname of all time. Joe Cool. He can take over Joe Montana's nickname. I don't. Joe Montana's long gone now in terms of his playing days. Him and that defense came in that second half and dominated. Mahomes, as we look at his stat line, was 26 of 39, 275, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. In the second half and overtime combined, he was 8 of 18 for 54 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 picks. And he threw the pick in overtime when they won the coin toss, and every Chiefs fan, every Chiefs player thought they won the game. He threw that pick to the Bengals to get the ball, go down, and get that field goal in overtime. Joe Burrow, 23 of 38, 252 touchdowns, 1 interception. And I know that 1 interception, guys, and this is where I talk about being a very paranoid and anxious sports fan, because I watched these games. I watched, the Bengals came back when it was 21-21. I was like, oh, I'm going to start watching this game now. Turn it on. Mahomes gets sacked. I'm like, let's go. I sack Mahomes. I was like, okay, maybe I'm not going to be such a bad such bad luck. Go down. First play, I see Joe Burrow throws a pick, and I'm like, gee, I throw my phone. I swear to God, my bed's right here. I threw my phone from my bed all the way to my closet. And I said, this is why I just can't watch these kind of games. This is why I can't root for anybody, because shit just goes wrong when I want the things to go right. Threw that pick, and I was like, it's done. I can't watch it. Didn't touch my phone for 5 minutes. Still, volume. I'm kind of a guy that has the volume a little bit, loud in case, I'm typing on my laptop here or I'm doing something else. And my phone, I'll just have it on the background. Just lay it on the bed, whatever, have it going on. And I'm looking around here because there's areas I'm thinking. And I heard that Mahomes got sacked and the Bengals were getting the ball back. And I was like, okay, very convenient. I threw my phone across the room. I wish it would have shattered, but I guess we'll continue watching the game. Bengals go down, get a field goal. And I'm like, okay, Chiefs are going to go down. They're definitely going to go down and score. And Tony Romo said they were going to score 100%. And when they hit the 40-yard line of the Chiefs, of their own 40-yard line, they were going to score 1,000%. The Chiefs were going to score. We'll get to Tony Romo later. I don't want to talk about him too much in this game. But I'm thinking, at that point, Tyreek Hill had not caught a single ball in the second half. And I was like, this is really the time where Tyreek Hill catches that 6-7 yard route, runs it, catches the ball, runs for a touchdown, does the peace sign, doesn't get flagged, which, that taunting still in the Bills is nuts. Didn't throw the flag. Completely, it went down the field, and Mahomes completely screwed the Chiefs. They were at the 9 with less than a minute left, or 2 minutes left. I can't remember exactly. And he made two big the most bonehead plays of all time. Mahomes goes down. They're at the 2 or 3, gets sacked, 6-yard loss. He's just kind of doing these twists and turns, doing like he's doing salsa or whatever he did. I don't even know what he was doing. And he just looked stupid. He looked foolish. He looked like he wanted to be the hero. Okay, throw the ball away, But instead, he wants to run through 8 guys. Pause. He wants to try and be the hero. He wants to play hero. He wants to get cute with the ball. Gets sacked. Bengals only send 3, drop everybody back. And people are saying, oh, it's stupid. And he's got so much time. Then he gets pressured, does a little couple twists and turns, gets strip sacked. Now they have a 44-yard field goal to go into overtime rather than what would have been at first, I believe, 16, 17-yard field goal. Looked like an idiot. It was just all-time stupid plays. Patrick Mahomes literally looked like a rookie and just looked completely dumb. It's just not Patrick Mahomes-esque. That second half in overtime, he looked like a deer in headlights, and it was embarrassing, but it was also, for me, as someone that's not the biggest fan, fun to watch for him to blow up like that, for them to blow an 18-point lead. Kicker, insanely clutch, a very good kicker, makes it, going in overtime. I am staring at my phone, screaming tails. You die by tails. I don't care what anybody says. You die by tails. Bengals get it. Call heads. I knew tails. Chiefs were getting the ball. Knew it. Once he flipped it, I screamed. I was like, you fucking moron. Die by tails. Chiefs got the ball. And there, everybody had been talking about beforehand, and even myself, okay, playoffs, change it. Just change it. If a team scores, let the other team go down, match it. Especially in a game like this, AFC Championship. I don't want to see somebody go down and score and the game's over unless it's the Patriots. I will not be shy to admit that unless it's the Patriots. Chiefs are throwing, throwing the ball, and Mahomes is thrown to a guy, Robinson, he hadn't thrown to all game. 2 straight passes, throws to him. Incomplete. Crap. Shit. Goes deep to Tyreek. Well, when he should have been picked off by Eli Apple, that should have been game. That should have been a pick 6. And then Eli Apple that just boosted his ego through the roof. And I can't imagine what Twitter would have looked like if Eli Apple picked 6 Patrick Mahomes to win the game, or what he would have looked like even after making that play on Tyreek Hill where he threw him to the ground before the half. And their little back and forth of him saying he's a baby. Tyreek said, miss me with the Twitter beef, blah, blah, blah. We know Tyreek's about beating people, so it's hard. And it's kind of, Tyreek's kind of a shitbag, but then Mahomes goes deep to Tyreek, goes for the home run, goes for the stupid play like he had been playing all half, gets picked off. I'm jumping up in the air, fist bumping. I'm going, okay, well, wait, they have to make it down the field. They have to get in field goal position first. And knowing my luck, I'll get all excited, get a 20-yard field goal, fucking brick it. Have a Vikings moment or a Ravens moment. Just completely miss your opportunity. Marching down, hitting T. Higgins. And Higgins, 6 catches for 103. Phenomenal game. He had Chase. Chase had 6 for 53 and a touchdown. Joe Mixon, phenomenal game. 21 carries for 88 yards, 3 catches, 27 yards. Phenomenal in that overtime, running the ball. You really had some big runs to get them in field goal position for them to keep going and going and going. And then when they got in field goal position, McPherson, I want to know what this guy said, because as we know, AFC Championship, he's going to no, sorry. Divisional game. We're going to the AFC Championship, boys. Get ready. We're going to the AFC Championship. Makes it, they go. And at this point, I have to think this guy is shitting bricks. 100%. There's no way, no how this guy is not shitting his pants. I wouldn't be surprised after he kicks it, we see, a little bit of jiggling in his pants behind, and it's just shit rolling down his leg. I wouldn't have been surprised. Then he makes it. And I'm stunned. I cannot believe still that the Bengals, after being down 21-3 to the almighty Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, the franchise everybody's been comparing and the quarterback everyone's been comparing and saying he's already better than Tom Brady, and the Chiefs are already better than the Patriots dynasty. And they blew it. They suck. I hate them. Hate every single one of them. I except for my, I have an uncle, an aunt, and three cousins live in Kansas City, or are Chiefs fans. Love them. You root for the Chiefs. The only Chiefs fans I love. Hate every single one of them. Everybody else, hate them. But the Chiefs are really missing their window here. The Bucs, all praise to Joe Burrow, that defense, Mixon, Higgins, Chase. The Bengals, fuck. The Bengals are here to really make it difficult for anybody to say that they're not going to be in contention for a while because of how young the roster is, how good the roster is. And when they build up that O-line, it's going to be scary. You already have a guy in Joe Mixon who was top 5 in rushing yards with a shit O-line. And then you have Joe Burrow putting up the numbers he did with a shit O-line. But they did hold the Chiefs to only 1 sack, but Chiefs aren't notoriously known for having, besides when they had Houston, for having a lot of sacks. And all credit to Joe Burrow. He possibly could have, it could have been 3, but he escaped near death. Chris Jones was basically, it was very Eli Manning-esque, and shaking off a guy who's 6'2", 350 pounds off your shoulders. But the Chiefs have just are completely missing their window because guys aren't going to be there forever. Contracts, they're not going to have the same team forever. And they're just completely missing their opportunity. And I love it. I love how much they suck. Mahomes is now 2-2 in AFC Championship games. Brady and Burrow are the only guys to beat him. Brady beat him in a Super Bowl and an AFC Championship game. And it was the best feeling in the world. Best feeling in the world to watch Mahomes lose, to watch him walk off, to hopefully know that Jackson Mahomes is doing some sad TikTok dances probably still. And it was phenomenal. Phenomenal game. The Bengals, I've been riding high on them when they got, obviously I didn't think that they would go to the Super Bowl, but every single game I've had them winning. I had them beating the Raiders, had them beating the Titans, and I had them beating the Chiefs. Now, whether or not I had them beating the Chiefs because I hate the Chiefs and I wanted them to lose, that doesn't matter because I picked them to win. It's all that matters to me. It's all that should matter to you. I picked them to win. I'm 3 for 3. And I'm not saying if I'm going to be 4 for 4 because I will not make a prediction this episode. I know every other episode where I've recapped the games, I've talked about, okay, I'm going to also recap the other one. Super Bowl, going to be within its own episode. It might be within Saturday. It might be strictly Super Bowl episode. Don't know yet. We'll find out. But that's just one of the games. And like I said, I had the 49ers beating the Rams, and it ultimately didn't happen. 49ers and Kyle Shanahan, specifically Kyle Shanahan, yet again, blew another lead. He's now blown a lead in the Super Bowl twice. He blew 28-3, 20-10, and now 17-7 in the fourth quarter. And it's the curse of Kyle Shanahan. Great, phenomenal coach, phenomenal team, phenomenal run. Deebo Samuel, like some guy we'd never seen before, and they just blew it. Ended up giving up 13 unanswered points in the fourth quarter. Jimmy Garoppolo looked like Jimmy Garoppolo at the end of the game. The last few possessions just looked god awful. He looked like he did against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Just looked like if you threw any other guy in there that's just somewhat better than Garoppolo, they win the game. And all credit in the world to Matthew Stafford, because at first I thought this was going to be the game that I predict. I said, okay, listen, we have not had Matthew Stafford play that really typical Matthew Stafford-esque game where he just continuously makes lapse of judgments, throws picks. It started off early, and I started off like, okay, it's gonna happen. I'm gonna look like a genius. The rest of the game, he was lights out. 31 of 45, 337, 2 touchdowns. Yes, that one pick, but early on. Cooper Kupp, 11 receptions, 142 yards, 2 touchdowns, and then a guy that you have to give all the credit in the world to because he looked phenomenal. The Rams wouldn't have won this game without him. First 100-yard receiving, 100-yard receiving game since 2019, and that's Odell Beckham Jr. 9 for $113. Phenomenal game for Odell. Couldn't be happier for a guy. He was just nothing short of spectacular. And when we look at the San Francisco side of things, their rushing that wasn't good whatsoever. A very inconsistent play calls. Garoppolo was finished 16 to 32, 32, 2 touchdowns and a pick. He had those times where it's like Jimmy Garoppolo. He looked really good, then he looked really bad. He looked like a guy that, should be that Super Bowl starting quarterback, and then should be a guy that's just benched. He should never see a football field. And Deebo Samuel left it all out in the field. Obviously he's very emotional at the end. He was 7 carries for 26 yards, not his usual running day, but 4 receptions, 72 yards and a touchdown, that big 42-yard touchdown. And Deebo Samuel, just nothing to hang his head about, an all-pro, just a phenomenal player, phenomenal season. The only reason that really the 49ers are in the position that they're in, besides that, defensive front, who had 2 sacks on Matthew Stafford, Nick Bosa had a really good game. But the one thing I didn't get is just George Kittle, 2 receptions, 27 yards and a touchdown. He had that big catch, put him up 17-7. To me, it just didn't make any sense why they weren't really going to George Kittle much. Obviously, there's only so much you can do when certain teams, the Rams have the talent to shut down guys. But to only give George Kittle that much attention during the game and when he was open in a lot of different opportunities, it just shows, okay, is it either the play calling or is it the quarterback? And based on performance over the last few years, we have to look, while Shanahan gives up, at chokes in the fourth quarters, we have to look at Garoppolo and say, okay, are they calling plays for Kittle and he's just rushing a lot of things? He's just not doing a lot of things right. He's not really getting the plays right. What is going on with Jimmy Garoppolo? And it very well could have cost him his career in San Francisco. He could be completely done. There's a lot of other teams that aren't as good as San Francisco that need a quarterback that will pay him a decent amount of money to be the quarterback for their franchise. And who knows if we see that. But it was a very, very interesting game because you just saw the Rams kind of look similar to how they looked in the second half against the Buccaneers. They were just very lackadaisical. They weren't all together on the offensive side. The defense was really giving the offense opportunities, but they weren't capitalized on it. They had big plays, but they were just making really dumb mistakes on the offensive end of the ball. Sorry, guys. I gotta drink so much water when I talk this much. But the Rams just they've had that problem in the playoff. Obviously, besides the Cardinals, they blew the Cardinals out against the Bucs. They had that first half where they looked phenomenal, and then that second half where they just looked terrible. And it's kind of the first 3 quarters, they looked bad. Like they looked like a team that shouldn't be in the Super Bowl, going to the Super Bowl, contending for a Super Bowl. And then as of late, they came out, Matthew Stafford was clutch. Give Matthew Stafford all the credit in the world. He was clutch. Rams defense came up clutch, got that pick at the end, just really pressured Jimmy Garoppolo. Obviously, I don't think the right plays were called on that last possession. You had a timeout, 20 seconds left, and it was just very bad play calling in my personal opinion. Really, you're not going to win the game with Jimmy Garoppolo. Obviously, I know your running game hadn't been going. I think they had 20 carries for 50 yards or something like that. and it just wasn't really working out. But it was just like they're going up the middle, going up the middle. They weren't trying to get anything outside, which didn't make any sense. That seemed to be the recipe for success with Elijah Mitchell, Deebo Samuel, to really run on the outside. You know, you have it every once in a while. You run it up the middle, you know, with your fullback, but it's like Elijah Mitchell, Deebo Samuel are so elusive, so quick, so, you know, so agile that they can make guys miss when you're running to the outside. And give the credit to the Rams defense. They were doing a good job at shutting down the run, which the 49ers didn't really feel confident in running the ball, even though that's what really the recipe to success had been in the last 6 games where they had beaten the Rams. And it's just tough. It was very tough to watch the 49ers blow yet again another lead. You know, I could care less about being right about a game when it's 2 teams I don't care about. But when you see the 49ers constantly have those chances where they should have won the Super Bowl against the Chiefs, they should have won this game and be going against the Bengals. And you have to think it's the same common denominator. It's either the coach or the quarterback. Which one are you going to roll with? And I think 95% of the people are going to roll with Kyle Shanahan over Jimmy Garoppolo. Because there's a lot of other guys out there. There's a lot of Jimmy Garoppolos out there. There's not a lot of Kyle Shanahans out there currently available. So for me, it's just, I think you have to move on from Jimmy, but you know, Trey Lance, he's obviously, I don't think Trey Lance, you throw him in there, he's going to be the answer, but they have a lot of guys that can go for. Sorry guys, my nose itches and I refuse to pick my nose. Since I am visual now, I can't really afford to do that. But that's just what it was for me. The Rams, they were obviously the better team. Everybody knew they were the better team, but I felt like the 49ers possessed the right matchup problems to really bring that to the table and to beat them. And it didn't happen, but we have a very good Super Bowl matchup in the Bengals and the Rams. Again, I will not give my prediction. I don't even know if I'll give it Saturday. It just all depends on what really comes up over the next couple of days and what I'm going to talk, you know, if it's kind of like, okay, there's nothing else to really talk about here. Should I really go all in on the Super Bowl? Because I think it should be just one episode in itself. I'm not sure if I'll make it, you know, my prediction, you know, because obviously the Super Bowl is on Sunday. If I should do it on a Saturday, you know, whatever. We'll figure it out. But very, very good games. Obviously, you know, last minute games. You think it couldn't have topped divisional weekend, in my personal opinion. Though there were some lulls in the game, in the 49ers and Rams game, it wasn't as good, in my opinion, as the Bengals and the Chiefs. Well, at least at first. Still very, very good games. I loved every single second of what I was watching when I wasn't wanting to slam my phone, you know, into a concrete wall. I don't have one here, but I would have gone and found one. But very entertaining. You know, so happy for Cincinnati, so happy for Joe Burrow, the guy. He's the first guy possibly to win Heisman National Championship and Super Bowl. He is the 7th quarterback all time to start a Super Bowl in his second year. He's the first number 1 overall pick to start a Super Bowl in his second year. So Joe Burrow could possibly go down in history early in his career. So a lot of things to talk about. Obviously, I think the Rams are 3.5-point favorites. But it's going to be very, very interesting to see how the line changes, see how everything changes. But, you know, the Rams are in their home stadium, so it's going to be a phenomenal game. But moving on, because I'm not talking about the Super Bowl. Not talking about it. Got 3 topics that I'm interested in. Like I said, we're going to be after the Brady, after the AFC and NFC championship talk. We're going to be everywhere. Because I got tennis, I got basketball, and then, like I said, I would get to Mr. Tony Romo. And I've never talked about tennis on here before. And there may be a good reason. You know, I'm kind of like UFC. I'm more knowledgeable in terms of UFC MMA than I am tennis, because I know a couple guys, but I only care about Nadal, Federer, Djokovic. I'm a Federer guy. So tennis, I think this is the first. I think this is the proper topic to talk about for being the first thing that's been talked about for tennis on here. Maine-Ly Heckin Sports. Rafael Nadal stormed back after being 2 sets down to Medvedev to win the 2022 Aussie Open. And if you don't follow tennis, if you don't know why that's a big deal, because he became the first men's player to win 21 Grand Slams. This is between those 3 guys I named: Nadal, Federer, Djokovic. all tied at 20 Grand Slam titles. Federer was way ahead of both of them, choked in a couple matches between those two guys, and ultimately just allowed them to catch up. He's getting old. He's going to be surpassed by both of them very soon. Federer is probably never going to win another Grand Slam title again, so it kind of sucks to be a Federer fan, but gotta love him. And it just raised a lot of questions. Obviously, Djokovic was unable to play because of his vaccination status, being deported, yada, yada, yada. A lot of things going on with him, not being able to play in the last two. So it became very, very interesting to see what's going to go on. And it led me to the question, obviously, these three guys are the best men's tennis has ever seen. It's not even close. Not even close. But now you look at Rafa, 21 titles, Federer 20, Djokovic 20, Djokovic being the youngest of the three. And you compare their numbers and you say, okay, technically, is it the guy just because of these guys have played each other so many times, which we'll also get into? Is it the guy who ends up winning the most titles? Is he the GOAT? No matter what their individual records are against each other. So now for right now, if with Nadal at 21, if Djokovic wins 2 in a row, he's 22. Is he the GOAT? But then if Nadal wins 2 more, he's at 23. Is he the GOAT? Is it whoever it is right now? So is it whoever's in the lead? So now is it Nadal? No. I can't fucking talk. But is it Nadal now? Is he the GOAT? He has 21 titles, 13 French Opens, 4 Wimbledons, 2 Aussies, 2 US Opens. Federer's 20 contains 8 Wimbledons, 6 Aussies, 5 US Opens, 1 French Open. Djokovic's 20 titles contains 9 Aussies, 6 Wimbledons, 3 US Opens, 2 French Opens. Jesus, I don't know why my nose itches so goddamn much. Colby Holdsworth, if you're listening to this, man, we were just talking about it's itchy nose season. And I think I jinxed myself. It's pissing me off. Because I will itch my nose, but I'm not going inside of my nose on camera. It's just disgusting. But all three of these guys, as I was saying, they run down the road of they've all played each other they've all, when you look at Nadal versus Federer, Nadal versus Djokovic, and Federer versus Djokovic, they've all at least played each other 40 times or more. Nadal and Federer is one of the most notorious, if not the most notorious rivalry in tennis history. Nadal leads, though, where I'm going to compare these and say, okay, you can kind of read off of these and say, okay, who's the GOAT here? Nadal is 24-16 in overall meetings, 14-10 in finals matchups, and just in terms of any tennis, finals matchup, and 10-4 in Grand Slam matches. Grand Slams obviously lead to titles. So 14 times they faced each other. Nadal kicked his ass. Always on clay, I think, is what Nadal always just destroys Roger on. It's clay. It's insane. And, a lot have been in French Opens because Nadal has 13 French Open titles. Then you go to Nadal versus Djokovic. Obviously, Nadal having the lead over Federer. He has 21, and he's just dominated him better than Federer. Nadal versus Djokovic. Djokovic leads 30-28 in their overall meetings and 15-13 in finals. But Nadal leads 10-7 in Grand Slam matches. So you say, okay. Djokovic has 2 more wins in overall meetings, 2 more in finals, but you go to the thing that means the most, the hardware, the thing that's really determining who's the greatest among these three, and Nadal leads Djokovic, the guy who can really challenge him now because Federer, like I said, is not going to win anymore. It's between these two now, Nadal and Djokovic. So leading 10-7 means a lot. And a lot of people would have said, okay, Djokovic played this one, he would have won, it would have been 10-8, but whatever. And this is where it kind of seals the deal for Federer being out of this. Federer's record against Djokovic. Djokovic leads 27-23 overall meetings, 13-6 in finals, and 11-6 in Grand Slam matches. So, one notoriously, Federer had 3 game match points in a row to win, moved to 21, be the first of these 3 to go to 21, blew it, lost, and they believe that gave Djokovic his 18th or 19th title. I believe it was 18. And Federer has just choked against these two multiple times. Federer could easily be at 23, 24, and he's just choked. Obviously, he's the oldest of the 3, so a lot of things, haven't gone, just it hasn't gone his way because of his old age. And, being younger in tennis means a lot. So at this point, I never thought either one of these guys when I was watching tennis, because like I said, these are the only 3 guys I pay attention to. Medvedev, I think I pay attention to when he's going up against Djokovic or Nadal because I hope he wins. But I never thought either one of these two would touch Federer. You think Federer is immortal. And he gets older and older, and these two guys, it's always these three. Because you look at the last, I believe, since 2003 or 4 when Federer first won, I can't exactly remember. Maybe it was 5. I think only 7 or 8 other times someone else has won a Grand Slam title. Maybe even less than that. I can't 100% remember, but maybe it's 7 or 8 or maybe more or less. Just the way these guys are much younger. Now, one of them's already surpassed Federer. Djokovic is likely to surpass Federer very soon. It's much between Nadal and Djokovic. And Nadal being 10-7 in Grand Slam matches, which was what means the most to these guys. I think even if Nadal had lost every other time they played against each other and still had the 10-7 record in Grand Slam matches, he would much favor that than reverse. So I think between Nadal and Djokovic, my point is here is until one retires and when these continue, if these two continue to surpass each other, it's just a 2-man race between those two now. Whoever ends their career with more titles, Djokovic being younger, so when Nadal retires, he has the opportunity to win more, will be the GOAT of tennis, men's tennis. It's really a 2-man race now, and as sad as it is to say, it's just 100% true. It sucks, but it's true. And that's just my little piece on tennis. First time I've ever talked about tennis, it's just very sad that Nadal won. Not a big Nadal guy, not a big Djokovic guy. I hate Djokovic with a passion. Djokovic is one of my least favorite athletes ever. It's just an arrogant prick. But you have to admit, Nadal is better than Federer. Djokovic is better than Federer. And until, one of those two retires and whoever surpasses the other, if they keep going back and forth, they play each other for the next 5 years in every single Grand Slam event, whoever ends up with the most is the GOAT. Right now, Nadal has 21. He's 10-7 against Djokovic in Grand Slam matches. He's the GOAT. Just the way it is. If you disagree, you can't really throw a staggering number at me that says why Djokovic is better than Nadal. When you look at the big things, 21-20, 10-7 Grand Slam matches, seals the deal for me. The next topic, one that I could have saw coming. LeBron, knee swelling. It's kept him out the last few games. He returns to LA to work on that knee swelling, but he's been out 3 games. And I've talked about the Lakers are really screwing themselves because LeBron, yes, is playing very, very, very well, but they weren't winning games. They weren't climbing up in the standings. Because when you hope, guys, your best player is playing the best he possibly can, but you're not winning games. And when LeBron's at his it's LeBron. Yes, he's immortal. He's a guy, seems like he's going to play much like Tom Brady in football, is going to play till he's 45 and be dominant. But when you have your best player, it's not resulting to you winning games. It's taking a lot out of him when you're going to need his best in the playoffs for deep playoff run. And when you can see it's already taking a toll on him and it's not even the All-Star break, it raises concern like it should. And you're really jeopardizing your season when your guy who's the only guy that can really drive you to the finals, which I believe won't happen in any way, no matter how good he plays. When he's down, when he's the oldest guy on your team, when he's the guy, I don't know, I can't remember exactly the age difference. Carmelo's older than him, whatever. You know what I mean? But when he's down, he's hurting. It's his knee. When that's a big, big factor in terms of, LeBron for his explosiveness, his athleticism. The knee is a very scary part of the body to be swelling up because if one little thing goes wrong, out for the season, and possibly at LeBron's age, end of his career. There's a very large concern moving forward, as if there isn't now, there should be. Frank Vogel has, voiced, I go through my mind every single day of how to properly play these veterans because we need these guys moving forward. We don't need them just for a game against the Pistons, a game, a regular season game against the Milwaukee Bucks. We need them in the first round, the second round, the Western Conference Finals, the finals. If it comes down to that, you need him 100% to go because without LeBron 100%, without Russell Westbrook 100%, without Carmelo Anthony 100%, but it's just, this is about LeBron specifically. Just had to throw other guys in there. Without your best player 100%, you're not winning. And that's the Lakers' problem. You're putting too much on a guy that's in his 19th season, and as well as he's playing, you're still not winning. Him out, you're not going to win big games. Yes, Anthony Davis came back. Anthony Davis is not good enough. He has not been playing well enough this year to win the big games, to win the games necessary. He's not. I have more faith in James Harden and Kyrie Irving winning games than I do Russell Westbrook and Anthony Davis winning games. Maybe you can say they have a better supporting cast in Brooklyn. It's kind of up for debate there. But it's just, for me, it's very concerning if I'm a Lakers fan, my best player being out, we still suck. And when he's there, we suck. But now, knee injuries are starting to happen. This is the last thing you want to see. You can see maybe shoulder, ankle. Obviously, we know LeBron has had groin issues in LA, but knee is the last thing you want to see, and people should be very, very, very worried for what is about to what can possibly come. I don't wish injury upon anybody, but if they don't load manage, if they don't properly play LeBron, if they're just pushing him to excruciating minutes because he has to, because they suck so bad, it's going to be ugly. And just give me a moment here. I'm ESPN to blast their nonsense on here. Just trying to mute this real quick before it plays. If it does play, I don't know what it's doing, but cursor's not working, blah, blah, blah. Yep. As you just heard, something tried to play. But anyway, you look at this. He underwent MRI. So this is what a full description. He underwent an MRI that revealed general swelling. Lakers coach Frank Vogel said Sunday was the third straight game that he missed. He had missed because of the knee. They're saying he possibly could come back Wednesday. It's not 100% that he does come back, but am I lagging here? Hopefully that it's not like full for the video, but they said just keep going, keep an eye on it day to day. His 19th season, obviously LeBron is averaging 29 points per game, tied for second in the league. But they asked, his knee injury has him thinking about how he will manage the veterans' workload when he returns. And he says, I think about it every day. We're always mindful of the load that he's carrying, in constant communication with him and the medical team. And in terms of what we do going forward and with the knee and where he's at, it's really a heavy lean on the medical staff and trainer and what they feel is best. It's not really a head coaching thing as much as it is relying on the medical team. I disagree on that standpoint, because it really is a head coach thing, because you have to be smart enough in terms to know how much to play him, because they're going to give you the proper information. They're going to do their best job. It's just Frank Vogel's job to do his. It's your job to understand how much to play him, with how much information you're going to be given from the medical team. And do you have enough trust in him moving forward to really keep it that close of an eye, that great of an eye, to judge what LeBron can do? Because LeBron's going to push himself to the furthest limit possible. We know that. We know LeBron's all about pushing himself, being in the best possible shape he can be in order to push past these kind of things. But it's a little late in his career. And I think LeBron is very intelligent in terms of knowing how far he can push himself when he knows what's at stake. So it's going to be very interesting to see what they do moving forward. But I think they should just tread very, very lightly. The Lakers, it's just not looking good. Like I predicted, but nobody wanted to listen to me. Everybody said I was crazy. Everybody said I was dumb. Everybody said I was a clown. Whatever. The last topic, it's the Tony Romo. It's just talking about Tony Romo, guys. I'm going to do this real quick because this guy, the reason why I'm talking about it is because I listen to PMT. I listened to what Big Cat and PFT had to say. How they were getting roasted, how they always thought Romo was overrated. He's a good broadcaster, but he's not that great. He's very overrated. He got paid millions. They just give him full control. And he just says whatever he wants. And he got roasted Saturday's game because these are just direct things and reasons why. Big one thing, he randomly began singing during a crucial drive, which made no sense. Nobody wants to hear you sing, Tony Romo. It's bad enough you have to hear your voice in Corona commercials. He basically was saying the Chiefs were going to score. Like I said earlier, once they hit their own 40-yard line, they were going to score on the Bengals. It was just certain they were going to score. They were going to win the game. And this is the key situation where everybody was just like, what the fuck is Tony Romo talking about? Before I get to that, let's just say this. Like, Tony Romo does a lot, rambles on and on and on, talks. He just loves to hear himself talk. And he just says things, he's kind of on that high still from 2017, 2018 AFC Championship when he said, what was going to happen in between the Patriots and the Chiefs, and that happened. And he's still on that high of which he can just say whatever he wants. And he believes it's going to happen. Like the NFL is going to make whatever he says happen. And when the Chiefs were on the 9-yard line, down 3 with less than a minute left, Tony Romo was saying himself 2 things. 1, the Chiefs should purposely not score to take time off the clock. Even if they had the opportunity to score, if they had open field, get down, take as much time off the clock. Even if it's so much getting at the 1-yard line, kneel the ball, get down, just take as much time off, and then just score at the end. Dumbest thing of all time. If they do that 5 seconds, then they don't get in, no timeouts, over. Because they would have had to take the timeouts. Stupidest thing of all time. Possibly. That could be second, because number 2, he was saying the Bengals should just allow the Chiefs to score so they have more time to go down the field to answer. Thank God the Bengals didn't listen to him. Thank God that, they didn't have Tony Romo radioed it and listening to him and saying, okay, Romo says we should let them score. Okay, guys, yeah. Don't go after Patrick Mahomes. Don't sack him twice to make them kick the field goal which ultimately leads to overtime. Let's let them get a touchdown. And then let's just go down and let's easily score with limited time. Or maybe what he was going for is he was trying to counteract and say, okay, well, maybe the Bengals are going to let them score, should let them score, just feel, okay, say the Chiefs player and just kind of wait, give him a little wave as he's running by, and the Chiefs guy goes, oh, wait, but I'm not supposed to score. They kind of have a staring contest, and whoever blinks first, or if the time runs out, ultimately the Chiefs are screwed. But if they have a staring contest, and whoever blinks first, they have to fulfill what Tony Romo says. If the Chiefs guy blinks, he goes, oh, I have to take a knee. Bengals guy blinks, he goes, oh, I have to let him score. 2 the dumbest things that have ever come out of somebody's mouth. And this guy's getting paid multiple millions of dollars. And it was good to see it's just good to see more and more people call him out on it, because I've just been saying, Tony Romo's not worse than Joe Buck. I think Joe Buck's the worst guy to listen to. But I think Tony Romo is just continuing to talk way more than he has to. He's just overrated. Yes, he does a very good job in analyzing the game and giving the inside perspective of the game, but sometimes it's just way too much. And it was good to see that I was not alone in feeling that way, and I had no idea Big Cat and PFT felt that way. So it's good to see guys like them, just boys, feeling the same way as I did. And I have since day one. So that was just me. I kind of had to throw that in at the end to ramble on about it, because I love when there's other people by my side and stuff like that. So that's it. That's it. The Romo shit. I'm glad we most likely will not hear him in the Super Bowl. I don't believe we will. God, I hope not. I don't want to hear him or Joe Buck. If I hear Joe Buck, it's going to be very sad, but it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Anyway, that's all I have for you guys this episode. I know I was kind of everywhere over the place, starting with Brady and then NFL and fucking tennis, basketball, Tony Romo. So forgive me for rambling off, going on and on about other stuff. So I guess that's just what you come here for. You come here to listen to me ramble on and on, sound like an idiot sometimes, and then sometimes, every now and then sound like a genius. But I'm going to keep asking you guys what to put up here, because, I have jerseys. Maybe I should post some of them to show you guys what I have, if there is room for jerseys or other stuff. But you guys, as always, listen to this on SoundCloud, Apple Podcast, the Sports Wave YouTube channel. Episodes 105 and 106 were posted on Sunday. 107 will be posted. I'm not sure if I'm going to be posting the visuals the same day as releasing it audio, or if I'll be posting it the day after, because I know some, podcasts do that in terms of let people listen to let some people listen to the audio, and then if they want to tune into the visual, they can after. Maybe I'll ask you guys what you want, because ultimately I do this kind of stuff for you guys. But thank you guys so much for listening. Let me know who you have a very early, because we have plenty of time, but let me know who your Super Bowl prediction is. Let me know if you, for some reason, like tennis. Let me know who your tennis goat is. But I love you guys so much. I appreciate the support every single day, week in, week out, every single episode. Hope you guys enjoy. I'll see you guys at 108.